Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have You Lucky Dog, and if you watch this, you're not a lucky dog. This is from 1998. It's an hour and 28 minutes, and it is. Oh, man. There's sometimes I really regret doing this. It stars Kirk Cameron, and not surprisingly, even though there's not a love scene or a kissing or anything else, it stars his wife Chelsea Noble as the love interest that eventually is hinted at toward the end, but you know that's where it's leading the whole time. This is kind of a mishmash of a lot of different things, and I could have seen somebody else in this role had it been not been like a TV movie. Um, it requires. Okay, let me just start and give you the premise of this. It's a story about a guy who has the ability to read dogs' minds. Kirk Cameron. His name is Jack in this. He can read dogs' minds. Okay, and well, he could up until he was age 14, but he still played off this premise. He was in the opening sequence shows him in the newspapers and everything else showing how he was famous because of this ability that was proven to be a thing, that he could do this. But after 14, he kind of lost that ability, but he still kept it going. He was basically just scamming people. He was, a dog psychic, and people come to him and say, "Oh, talk to my dog, and find out what's wrong with him, and maybe we can help." And even people, he wasn't making any money toward it by the time we meet up with him in the modern day of 1998, and his business is failing. He spends his time in his office with a dog sleeping while the dog is just sort of having fun with a chew toy or whatever. One customer bursts in and like finds him that way and is like, "Oh, we're wasting our money. I want my $50 back." Yeah, so his one staffer, his secretary, is ready to quit because he can't pay her. He doesn't seem like that great of a guy, but just as he's about to close up, an older gentleman comes in with his butler, played by James Avery. You'll know him from Fresh Prince of Bel Air. It is James Avery. I want to make sure I get his last name right. Come on, why are you so far down the list, James Avery? Come on. I'm gonna get this wrong. Yeah, there you are. Yeah, he plays Calvin. Yeah, sorry, kill that butt right there. Just I don't edit so on these things. So yeah, James Avery is the butler, driver, chauffeur kind of guy who works for the old man. He's there when the Kirk Cameron's supposed to talk to the dog. He he suddenly feels and hears something when he comes face to face with this dog, and it bothers him. It freaks him out a little bit, and he says, "Oh, nope, you gotta go. He's this is not a thing. I don't wanna deal with this dog at all." And the old man's like, "Oh, come on. What do you say to you? What do you say to you?" And he's like, "Something about you have three problems that," and so uh, nobody seems to understand this but the older man, and he wants to pay him even though he ended the session early, and I'm basically telling you the entire first 5 minutes of the film. But it turns out that soon after, the man is found dead, and this sounds like a really kind of intriguing drama, but the way it's put together, it's, let's say there was going to be a Jim Carrey movie, but you couldn't afford Jim Carrey to act like a dog for an hour and a half. They got Kirk Cameron, and it feels like it could have been a sequel to something because the way they talk about, like, oh, but kid, it can read dogs' minds, but yeah, they encapsulate it all in just some sort of, opening flashback kind of thing. Anyway, later on we find out that Kirk Cameron, I'm going to keep calling Kirk Cameron. You remember Growing Pains? That's him. Remember Christian movies about the end times? Yeah, it's Kirk Cameron. I used to like Kirk Cameron when I was a kid. Don't like him anymore. Anyway, lovely wife though. Anyway, the butler comes back, or the chauffeur comes back and says, "Hey, you want to come to this mansion? They're reading the will. It might be to your benefit. Let me drive you there." He's like, "Okay, I don't have any customers. Why not?" So he goes to the mansion, and where he meets the niece and two nephews of the old rich man, and they're hoping to get his $64 million, which doesn't seem too rich in this era of billionaires. But by the way, this is all set in California. It was a fairly modest mansion, I guess. I don't know, or it was just a fake exterior. I don't know. So he finds out that he has three slimy relatives who want all his money, but the old man pulls a trick and says all the money goes to the dog, making Jack the, what's the term, arbiter, he's the controller of the inheritance, because he can talk to the dog and he will give the dog what the dog wants. If you can pull that scam, that's kind of great, but turns out that it's not a scam anymore. And of course, Jack starts, whenever Lucky the dog gets really excited, Jack starts channeling Lucky 100%, as in whatever Lucky feels, Jack feels. And so he wants to dig up a bone in the backyard. Jack starts digging along with him, and he starts thinking like a dog, rolling around in dirt, scares away the help, and yeah, it's it's really goofy. So you just see Kirk Cameron just acting like a dog and digging up the yard and chewing on shoes and just whatever like dog things he could do. But when he comes down from that, he's like barely remembers. Oh my gosh, what happened? What's going on? It's can be a cute premise at times, but it's I think people who would be amused by this are 5-year-olds and under, just to see Kirk Cameron just go wackadoo. Uh, I think I would have paid money maybe to see Jim Carrey do it, but because you have to have that kind of commitment and energy to do something that's just Ace Ventura level nutso, and that's what this requires. But Kirk Cameron is still doing sitcom delivery in this. It's really bad. It's bad. He's every line he's delivering. It's like It's not like there's a audible pause, but he can almost. It sounds like he's waiting for the audience to hoot and holler or cheer or whatever it is. I don't know. It's 1998. Growing Pains has been off the air for a while. So, some of the only redeeming parts of this are the villains, played by. Let me get this down. Come on, where are you? Uh, yeah. Christine Healy is the niece. By the way, these are all like adults in their 40s, and they are cut off. Like, they have absolutely no money. They move into a motel room together. Like, this guy's your uncle. He's not your parent. It's just not like Elon Musk suddenly loses all of his money and, like, his kid no longer has money. The kid would have money somewhere, like in an account or a trust. These are adults, and it's not like I mean, I realize they probably never worked a day in their lives, but holy cow, you're adults. You're probably at this point in their 40s going, oh no, well, we can't even afford to get a more than a crappy motel room with cotton sheets, not silk. And they talk like rich people talk. They don't talk. It's not. It's like a faux pseudo British, but it's not. It's just like we're rich and this is the way we talk. At least the woman does. The other two people, you might also, some of you might recognize Taylor Negron, who is a comedian. He's beloved by the comedy world. He passed away a number of years ago, but for many, I imagine this was like a paycheck. But he's probably one of the funniest elements of this entire film. He plays just a total dum dum, and he's good at it. He's good at playing the dum dum. He delivers his lines, even as bad as they are, really well. And of course, the most well known to me anyway is John Delancey. Yes, Q from Star Trek: Next Generation and recently Picard series on Paramount Plus. Yeah, not on Disney Plus. Everybody's got a plus now. But John Delancey, you know him as Q. He was in Breaking Bad for a bit, for a season, as Jane's father, the air traffic controller. If you didn't recognize him, uh, it's those. They're the bad guys. It quickly turns into, while this is sort of a, it feels like a failed Jim Carrey vehicle. It then turns into Home Alone 2, where, remember Kevin ends up having a credit card and checking in to the Ritz, I guess, in Manhattan. Runs into Donald Trump. But he goes and lives in a hotel room in Manhattan and lives a life of leisure and bubble baths and everything else. That's literally the very first thing that happens to Jack when he moves into the mansion to take care of the dog. He's playing with dog toys in the bathtub. We don't know where the dog is at this point, but apparently the dog must be excited about a bath and dog toys. And so he's just freaking out so much that the staff has to come in and they're like, "What's going on, sir?" And then he just like stands up, but he's naked, but they don't show anything, obviously. But they're all very freaked out by him, and they quit. But it's all. So there's weird parallels to this, but it goes further because once they realize that the lawyer they hired is going to want to take a good chunk of the money if he's able to help them get the money back, the bad guys, the nephews and niece, they're like, well, let's see if we can take this into our own hands. Guess what? It's a home invasion kind of situation. It's just one scene. It's not in. They try to trank the dog and they end up just shooting each other, but none of them get tranquilized really. But they have these pretty big like trank pistols, and they're just firing everywhere. Like one shot would have went into Kirk Cameron's face, the character Jack's face, had she aimed slightly different, like 2 inches to the right. It's lots of crazy antics and everything else, and of course also somewhat. I can't remember where this happened, when this happened in New York City. This Home Alone 2. He has a credit card, so he can buy anything he wants. In this case, the dog suddenly understands how commerce works, and through Jack, it starts couch shopping. And they end up buying like half dozen couches. Then they go to the pet store and buys all the bones and toys, and he's picking through. Oh, I don't want a green pork chop. I want this rawhide thing over here. Like through Jack, he understands, like they communicate clearly to each other. Thankfully, they did not make the dog actually talk. His voice is he's projected through Kirk Cameron, who has a different tone for the voice, but when he's taken over. But when they communicate, they understand each other mentally, and thankfully, thankfully they didn't make the dog actually talk, so we could hear him and do a digital mouth thing. Ugh, that would have been awful and probably expensive in 1998. So yeah, there's a whole thing, and I'm gonna ruin it for you. Well, I'm not gonna ruin it. I can't really ruin something this bad, but eventually it all goes to court, and he has to prove. I mean, one of the things is that if they can prove that this guy is incompetent to handle this, or like mentally incompetent, like that's a clause in the thing. Like, why would you put that in there? I don't know. In the will, it's if he's proven to be mentally incompetent, which he seems to be by every bit of evidence, by everybody who witnesses him freak out as a dog, then the money would all go to the nephews and niece, which is what they're counting on. So that's why they go to court, and they get the lawyer, even though the lawyer ups a fee, and they're just going to do it because they're going to take whatever they can get at this point. And at one point, they have to prove to the jury, like there's a whole like a jury and everything, to prove to the jury that the dog possesses him, and the judge also wants to hear this, and the judge, by the way, she's played by like a total. She's one of my favorite character actors. I can't remember her name always, but Patricia Belcher. Yeah, Patricia Belcher. She's got this great deadpan reaction to everything. If you see this and you see her, you'll completely understand who I'm talking about, because she's always fantastic in whatever role she's in. But she's awesome. So beyond all the little vignettes of craziness and redecorating the entire mansion with tons of dog toys and weird furniture and everything else, in the very end, of course, with the help of his beautiful lawyer, not soon to be girlfriend, who has a daughter, um, but because she's divorced, but dad took the house, and like it's a whole there's like backstory that's like completely unnecessary, but I guess because the dog and the daughter also become quick buddies, then it gives them a reason to be around each other, because eventually they go back to the store at the end of the film, and the dog buys all the other dogs because he understands commerce, he understands purchasing power. So yeah, uh, including girlfriend, like a he sees one in a cage early the mall scene, and he's sort of lingering there, the dog just sort of lingering there, and Jack is like, oh, come on, let's move, come on, let's keep going. I'm thinking at some point there's a plot element that they completely avoided, thankfully, but would have been hilarious. Would have been in a Jim Carrey film. This would have been rated R, not G, and it would have been a rated R Jim Carrey film. And as soon as the dog got excited about the girl dog, Kirk Cameron would have been in trouble, because yeah, you know what I'm implying. That's yeah, it's not good. I just kept worrying that the dog is gonna be like, oh hey, I wanna get to know her, and then Jack just sort of filling in. That's not good. No, it's not. So yeah, they thankfully avoided that. It's terrified a bunch of people. Anyway, yeah, this is way too long. By the way, I also got to tell you, there's a song that sort of starts off and ends the film called "Togetherness," and it is a 100% Randy Newman Toy Story "You Got a Friend in Me" ripoff. It's from the tone of voice. They won't say who sang it. They have the songwriter and they have the lyricist, but they don't have who's performed it. But it's not Randy Newman. It's togetherness. It sounds like somebody just like is at a karaoke bar doing "You Got a Friend in Me" and change the lyrics. Togetherness. It's really. I think you should only ever watch this movie on a dare. On a dare, and I dare you to watch You Lucky Dog. You will not feel that way when it's over, but yeah, it's might actually be in competition for the worst thing on Disney Plus. And it is an actual Disney movie. It's not like brought in over from 20th Century Fox or anything during the acquisition. No, this is a Disney film. Sorry, guys, but anyway, not picking randomly tomorrow's episode because I already know what we're gonna do for Friday. I'm gonna be watching it tonight at midnight when it premieres, and it's gonna be Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. So it's about 45 minutes or so special that is going to pretty much bridge a little bit. I mean, it's gonna go from the when we last saw them in Thor: Love and Thunder, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is coming out in May. So here's a little thing to tide you over. And who knows? I wonder if this is going to be the kind of thing where it'd be perfect for them to premiere the trailer that we saw a good bit of at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con this past July. If this is going to make you laugh, that trailer is probably going to make you cry. Laugh and cry. It's going to be an emotional film. I'm going to tell you that right now. From what I've seen of Guardians 3. I got goosebumps already. So, anyway, that's what we're watching tomorrow. Not this. Never this again. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special and the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.